Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the 37th meeting of the Board of Lake County Commissioners. Will all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority. And may we use in our directives for the common good and for thy honor and glory. Amen. Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino.
Here. Commissioner
Young. Here. Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Okay, this brings us to our first public comment portion. Jim Gills, our county engineer, I believe you have something to share with us this morning?
Yes, Commissioner, I do. We received some pictures from Drone, Ohio. That's the group that runs around the state taking pictures of various projects and things, and they're very, very good. These pictures are of the new bridge, so we thought we'd put a little quick slideshow together and send them up and let you and the public see it.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Roll them.
Yeah. Let's see.
Nice.
That's going to be really nice when those trees turn.
Right.
Yeah,
What's the total span now? I forget.
Total span's 1,800 feet, fifth largest, longest county bridge in Ohio. Piers came out nice.
What do the symbols on the piers mean, real quick?
Well, I don't know what they all mean. The raccoon feet are raccoon feet, but one of them I know is the lacrosse, which is an Indian, the Indian thing. What this one means particularly, I don't know. ODOT put those together, and they were approved by the Seminole Indian tribe, who wanted them. So.
Okay. Wow, that looks fantastic.
These pictures are really nice that the Drone, Ohio took.
Yeah, go back. Those barrels will be gone.
Yeah. They'll be gone on Monday noon.
These are great pictures. What was the total time span from when this project initially began to now?
As I understand it, this project started in the late 60s.
Well, let's make it clear. The concept of doing it?
Yeah.
They actually, the concept of doing it started in the late 50s. In the 60s, they actually did a limited access 4-lane highway and a bridge across the river, the Grand River, that did the plans for it from 90 to 20. And they didn't have the money to build that, so they didn't build it. After that, it kept moving slowly forward. In the early 90s, they did plans for a 2-lane bridge in this particular location, but not with this configuration. But it got stopped because there was concern that that 84 was on an Indian burial ground. So they were supposed to do a special archaeological study, which the county engineer at that particular time decided not to do. So then came along 2000, and we decided that we would move forward and with this particular project for several reasons. And so we actually started on it late 2001, and that's how long my particular staff has been, and myself has been working on it. So
okay.
almost 20 years.
Okay.
Jerry, to Jim's point, when I was doing the research, you might recall in the Commissioner's Prayer, I found references to the Rumen Road project, and this, not necessarily this specific bridge, but a bridge dating back to 1964. Wow. Yeah, they've been talking about this
way, way
for more
back.
years than I've been alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out. Ron and I were dating with young ladies at that time, so.
Careful where you put that comma now.
Yeah. Okay.
Jim, there was talk back in 2018, I believe, to stop funding for the bridge, but it was already so well underway by that point.
Yeah, well, we had somebody that was mad at me that did try to throw a monkey wrench into the thing, but we were way too far along. That wasn't really going to work. I mean, we'd already spent several $1,000s, a couple $100,000, actually $2 million at that particular point on plans and studies and so forth. So it just was
We
not
can be
going
more
to stop.
we can be more specific on that, but because it was before Commissioner Young joined the commission, is that a previous commissioner wanted to stop the project and walk away from it after the lawsuit had been settled. The three-way lawsuit had been settled, and we had spent a lot of money and time on that. And after the steel was actually bought and on site, and we had secured the financing for everything, and this former commissioner wanted to stop the project and go start over again with a mid-level bridge to replace the plans that we have here. And we're very fortunate that two of us at least decided at that time not to go down that route, and the finished product here is testimony that that was the right decision to make.
It was definitely the right decision.
You guys, both of you really jumped on that, but Jim, you've been a driving force behind this bridge for how many years? How long have you been advocating for this bridge?
Well, actually, since I've been in office, we started it in 2001, so at least 19 years. If you start with 2002, go to 2020, or late 2001, that's about 19 years. It has been, we like at the office to refer to it as Murphy's Bridge, because this is a perfect example of Murphy's Law. And everything and anything that could happen did happen, and we're still waiting for the last shoe to drop. Hopefully,
No.
After,
Hey, don't even say
after
that.
on Monday,
Hush.
it won't drop.
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say drop regarding bridges. Ron, you want to hit your mic button?
You got more pictures, or
Is that all of them?
you've seconded?
Oh, okay. Now, let me say this too. Drone, Ohio, who did these pictures, is going to be at the opening on Monday, and they are going to stream our opening ceremony live. And then they will also then repeat it on their website and so forth. And we're going to be asking them to give us a copy, let us use a copy of that and put it on our website, the county's website, and so forth. So they have really done a nice job in working with us, throughout this. You might remember the previous clip we put together about halfway through. So they're an interesting group.
So you want to talk about the ceremony?
Yeah, the ceremony will be on Monday at 9:30. We're going to have a conversation by myself and two of the commissioners. Unfortunately, Commissioner Young is not going to be able to make it. And also the director of director, the Double D from 12 from ODOT is going to have a short speech. And the head of NWACA is going to have a short speech, Gracie. So then we will line up. There will be about 8 of us across the ribbon, and we'll slice that puppy. And after that, the barrels will come down, and you'll be able to go 100 miles an hour from 84 to Route 90.
You were looking at Commissioner Young when you said that, right?
I was.
He knows me only too well.
And Mr. Hackman will have a report for that one, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be interesting. The sheriff's going to have a lot of fun because I was out there Sunday checking a few things out, and I don't think anybody went across that bridge less than 60 miles an hour. Then when you drive out the improved Rumen road section, which we flattened the curve and took a couple of nasty humps out, they could easily go 100 miles an hour from one end of that to the other now,
Well,
because it's
let's
nice and
hope not.
wide, and so it'll be interesting to see how they respond.
And although that is a theoretical possibility, we do not in any way advocate or suggest that. How am I doing so far, Mr. Hackman?
Excellent. We're looking forward to Monday.
Yeah, so are we all. It'll be a great day for Lake
weather re-
County,
you
the
have a weather
citizens of Lake
report?
County, and the taxpayers of Lake County.
Do we have
And those, it will spring a lot of economic activity, I'm sure, in the future.
Do we have a weather report for Monday?
We do have a weather report, 30% chance of rain in the morning, but as we boaters say, 30% is no chance at all.
Okay, great. Good job.
Now, while I'm on it, the people, will be entering only from 84, where there'll be a sheriff's deputy. We're going to be checking them in, and everybody's going to stand on a portion of the bridge and the roadway, but we're going to park all the cars on the bridge. So you should enter on 84. We will direct your car through, and we'll have somebody down there to park everybody on the bridge, so that if it does rain or anything, there's no mud and that kind of stuff. So then when they leave, they'll leave southbound, and after everybody's gone, that's when the bridge will be, and the roadway will be opened up. So that's all I have, unless you have a question.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim. All right, and with that, we are still in the public section. Jason, do we have any electronic? Indicating none. And public audience, do we have anyone in the audience? Sir, would you care to join us at the podium? And good to see you, by the way.
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. Dave Lima, Mentor, Ohio. Ohio, yeah. Today I want to comment on remarks made during new business on September 10th and 17th concerning law enforcement, violence, and defunding the police. First, to be clear, violence anywhere, anytime, by anyone is repugnant to all of us who choose not to engage in violence. It is true that violent rhetoric on all sides, whether it's the far left or the far right, or from comments made by our president that the Proud Boys should stand back and stand by, they can and sometimes does lead to violence. Fortunately, most of us who are law-abiding citizens are not persuaded by such rhetoric. Secondly, it's important to remember that we, the people, have given our police forces special powers, the power to do things that for the rest of us would result in being arrested and charged with the crime. We call this qualified immunity. The community appreciates and trusts our police forces when they carry out their sworn duties to serve and protect without abusing the special powers we have given them. This is why we, the people, have a duty and a responsibility to assure that these powers are not abused. It's called community oversight. And finally, I want to address some of the comments made concerning defunding the police. The term defunding is often equated erroneously with the abolishment of law enforcement. Nothing could be further from the truth. What is being proposed and considered is an effort to reimagine community safety. there is ample evidence and testimony from credible sources that socioeconomic ills are largely responsible for crime. Recent testimonies at the President's Commission on Law Enforcement and the Administration of Justice, held on April 7 of this year, by Amy Blasher of the FBI, our own U.S. Attorney Justin Herdman, and others point to these ills as factors causing crime. Factors like poverty, unemployment, poor health, struggling schools, inadequate housing, to name a few. Additionally, comments made by Justin Herdman acknowledged that these factors are outside the competency of law enforcement. Our own common pleas judge, John O'Donnell, recently provided sentencing data for a 12-month period. Out of 176 individuals sentenced by him, 102 were unemployed. That's 58%. Despite this awareness of the socioeconomic factors influencing crime, when we fail to address and solve these socioeconomic ills that plague our communities, we typically default to law enforcement and call for more police. Reimagining community safety is what's happening in many communities, not the abolishment of the police. Police officers are often called upon to deal with issues that are far beyond their competency, like mental health crises or nonviolent domestic disputes. What if they didn't have to respond to non-police 911 calls, or if they stopped making traffic stops solely based on suspicion, or if they didn't have to respond to complaints of loud music? We might even think about decriminalizing certain non-violent human behaviors not harmful to others or to society, like homelessness, which is clearly a socioeconomic phenomena. There are other areas of non-violent human behavior that could be decriminalized, but we'll save that for another day. We have to think outside the box, and that's what reimagining community safety is all about. It is not about abolishing the police. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else wishing to address the board in the first public comment portion? None being observed, we move on to resolutions. Madam Clerk, first resolution, please.
In the engineer's office, resolution approving plans and specifications for Stone Ridge Estates Phase 3, Concord Township.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion? Jim, did you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I am assuming that this is a subdivision that has been placed through our office for the roadway and the drainage. It goes through, these things, as you know, go through a long process of each department. So we're satisfied that it is ready to go, and that's probably why it's on the agenda.
Very good. Total project cost indicated at $1,345,755. Okay, further discussion?
None?
None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Serino?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
Resolution approving scope of services and bid documents for the LAK Marco Road Bridge Project, PID number 102069, over the East Branch of the Chagrin River in the village of Wade Hill, Ohio, and advertising for bids for the same. LCE project number 2015-021-002, bid opening November 4th, 2020.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion? Jim?
Yes, this is a bridge replacement, and we're doing this by a design build. It is about $1.5 million project, and it is the money that we have received, which is about 80% federal, 20% local, is coming from the CEAO Bridge Fund.
Very good. Further discussion?
No.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Question.
Oh, sir.
What did we get in the way of the bridge fund? Is that money accessed by individual request? Is there a pot of money that's assigned to specific areas?
The answer to your question is yes, yes, and yes. The CEAO is awarded or given every year a lump of money from ODOT, and it's the federal money part of the federal money that the state receives from the transportation bill. That money is generally about $35 million for bridges and about another $10 to $15 million for safety items like guardrail, striping, and those kind of things. Every year, we apply to a bridge committee who reviews the applications for a specific project and either approves or disapproves. We are guaranteed a project at least once every 5 years. But the way it works is that they like you to finish one project before you get another. So all of us, all 88 counties, every year we submit a bridge, and they say yay or nay, come back next year, and so forth. So you just kind of get in line.
Did we get some money for the Vrooman Road Bridge as well?
Yes, we get $5 million from them on the Vrooman Road Bridge, which is the cap from them. And actually, as part of the Vrooman Road Bridge, $2.5 million of that was awarded for us to do the design and the extensive reports, which is the first time ever that's been allowed.
For non-construction.
For non-construction, yeah. Normally, you have to do your own design. You have to pay for the design, and then they pay. The money is normally only for construction. By doing these smaller bridges, design build, we actually take advantage of the federal funds, and we save about 50% on the design because we do a preliminary. We put it in the specifications. When the bid comes in, it comes in with a contractor and an engineer. The engineer then takes our preliminary, does the bridge design, submits it, we review it, ODOT reviews it and approves it, and then the contractor builds it.
Very good.
So we're kind of taking advantage of a loophole in their law. Well, they know about it. That the state legislature, which I think you may or may not have been there several years ago, quite a few years ago now, probably about 10, passed legislation allowing us to do design build. Prior to that, in Ohio, design build was not allowed.
And for those
Thank you.
for those viewing who may not actually be seeing the actual document, the third whereas the estimated construction cost ranges from $1,382,000 to $1,672,000, and additional costs of construction administration and observation are eligible for a 95% credit bridge state funding to a maximum cost participation of $1,583,740.25, and thereafter are eligible for 80% state funding to a maximum participation of $163,689.75. That's the direct application of the formulas that our engineer was talking about in this example.
Yeah, that's the credit bridge program, and this bridge does have credit bridge in it. You might remember, I know you two do, but I don't think you were here when we did this about 2.5 years ago. We bought another county's bridge credits because they could not use them, and we paid 50 cents on the dollar. So we bought almost $300,000 worth for $150,000, and we were able to use that here.
Interesting.
So yeah, we're always looking under a rock for a nickel.
Well, keep it up. Good work.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Further discussion?
Nope.
None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes.
In the Utilities Department, resolution approving plans, specifications, and estimates of cost in the amount of $174,158.05 for sanitary sewers for Stone Ridge Estates subdivision Phase 3, job number 20-48 in Concord Township.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion? Randy, did you want to comment on this and possibly some of the other resolutions coming up?
Sure, yeah. The Resolution number 3 and 4 are both the same subdivision that, for our part of the subdivision, the sanitary sewers and the water lines, that was approved as Resolution number 1, which was Jim's part of the, Mr. Gill's part of the subdivision approval.
Very good. Further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $168,509 for a water line for Stone Ridge Estates subdivision Phase 3, job number 20-47 in Concord Township.
Move to adopt?
Second.
And discussion, again, reasons previously stated. Further discussion?
None?
None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $388,797.10 for the East 349th Street Roberts to Beach Park Waterline Replacement Project number 422W and advertising for bids for the same, bid opening October 28, 2020.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion? Randy, do you want to give a little background there?
Sure, this is a part of our capital improvement plan for 2020 construction. It's our last water line project that we had scheduled for this year, and we're hoping for some good prices, some good bids we've been getting recently.
The estimated cost I see is $388,797.10, just to give a little sense of scope.
Correct.
Very good. Further discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution awarding bid contract to VL Chapman Electric Incorporated in the amount of $298,710.70 for Lake County Solid Waste Facility Cell C4 Phase 6 Expansion Part B Electrical Relocation Improvement Project 421L.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion? Randy, do you want to?
Sure. This is another project in preparation for our landfill expansion. Our expansion will interfere with some of the electrical lines coming into the landfill, so this is just going to relocate that and make it our area available to construct our expansion in the near future.
And it's fair to say, once they're moved, we're not going to have move them again in the future. We're planning
Hopefully-
ahead.
Yeah, at least for about 75 years, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Very good. Thank you. No further discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In Job and Family Services Department, resolution authorizing execution of a service contract between Ohio Guidestone and the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services to provide a supplemental nutrition assistance program, SNAP employment, and training services to eligible participants.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services vouchers, date of warrant October 9th, 2020, in the amount of $117,103.35.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution accepting an emergency management performance grant in the amount of $139,619.28, effective through September 30th, 2021.
Move to adopt.
Second?
Discussion? Jason, did you want to give a little bit of background on that, please? Jason Boyd, County Administrator.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah, this is correspondence from EMA Director, Mr. Busher. This is our FY 2020 grant. This is an annual grant process that we go through. It's a 50% cost share that allows Joe and his team to essentially operate the EOC. Eligible expenses include personnel, utilities, and just reoccurring day-to-day op costs of running the EMA under Mr. Busher. $139,000 will go a real long way in helping what I think is the best EMA in this state. So, thank you.
Indeed. Further discussion, questions? Thank you, Jason. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution increasing appropriations for various non-general fund accounts.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to adopt?
Second.
Discussion. None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Okay, this moves us to our departmental reports portion of our meeting. Randy, utilities.
No additional report today, Commissioner. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, sir. County Administrator Jason, anything for us? Indicating none. Okay. And Madam Clerk.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that if anyone is interested in serving on the Senior Levy Advisory Panel, to please contact me. And also, the next Commissioners' meeting is going to be next Thursday, October 8th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. And legal.
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. This moves us to our old business portion of our meeting. Do we have any old business to come before the board?
Mr. President, I
Sir.
just have a couple of quick items here. One is I made reference last week, and why I'm covering this under old business, to comments that were made at a United Way Zoom gathering last week. And I'm happy to tell you that after having discussions with United Way principals, that they have issued sometime earlier this week, I'm not sure which day, a clarification that the comments made by the young lady who came here to talk with us last week were inappropriate and out of compliance with board policy and state policy regarding activities that are of a political nature at a not-for-profit entity. So I'm happy to hear about that, and I believe they repudiated or made some comments to her explaining that those kinds of comments are inappropriate at a United Way event. The second item is I'm happy to hear Mr. Lima's comments on violence. We're all standing together on that. We don't like that. I presume, Mr. Lima, this is a rhetorical question. You don't need to answer here, but that you would repudiate the activities of Antifa, who are bent solely on violence. And in terms of the defunding issue here, the concept of reimagining police started really in Minneapolis with the mayor and city council. And, certainly reimagining means a lot of different things to a lot of people. If it means fine-tuning and making sure that processes and procedures are in place and that there are no inherently racist people in the police department, I don't think anybody would argue with that. But the way they have defined reimagining in Minneapolis, for example, where it started, was a 50% reduction in the expenditure budget for policing. Yeah, you said that it doesn't mean eliminating the police force, but 50% reduction, which they put in city council without even consulting the chief of police, seems pretty irresponsible to me. And look at what's going on in Minneapolis right now. It is not working. It's not working in Portland and other places where this reimagining concept, which is, a lot of baloney in my opinion, it definitely speaks volumes about not supporting the police. You can't send social workers to respond to 9/11 calls. And the other part of it is, since you mentioned the president, we don't like to get into political things here, but since you mentioned the president, and I would agree that poverty, unemployment, unsafe conditions, neighborhoods that are left in squalor are clearly root causes of why people protest and why people feel that they are being that their needs are being unattended to. But I have to mention that where these situations exist is by and large in Democrat-run cities for many, many decades. They have allowed poverty, unemployment, unsafe conditions, and squalor to be a part of their very policies. I repudiate that, and I would repudiate any party in control of cities who are allowing these kinds of conditions to continue for decades after decades. And that is why we're going to continue to have problems with people feeling like their needs are being unattended to. And that is something that we as a country need to make sure does not continue. Whatever party you're in, whatever elected office you're in, we all need to fight poverty, unemployment, unsafe conditions, and squalor. Families need to know that there is a way up, and we need to assist them in doing so. Thank you, Mr. President.
Very good, thank you.
I want to
Oh, sir.
support what Commissioner Serino was getting at, just very briefly. What really concerns me is the focus on race in so many of these issues in so many communities across America. If we just look at court histories and who's prosecuted and who is found guilty, et cetera, and break those down according to demographics or whatever, we're just looking at the fruit or the final results of what's been done up to that point before anybody walks into a courtroom. You know, if you have any community in this country that where high school dropouts are very, very significantly higher than the average across the country, where you find many, many single-parent households, where there's a culture of resistance to basic American values, like the value of education, the value of hard work, the value of taking care of, well, at any rate, if you have any community that doesn't resist those types of values taking root, you're going to find people from that community in courtrooms far more than other communities that value such things. So if we're talking about rethinking, reimagining, it's going to be a big job. And in Ohio, for instance, we already spend probably 50% more educating kids from those communities than we do kids in Lake County, for instance. 50% more. If you look at Cuyahoga County, the amount invested per student by the state is extremely high, almost twice as high in some cases, in fact, than in Lake County. So I think society as a whole has worked hard to remedy some of these basic problems. That doesn't mean we should look at them again or consider these problems and ways to solve them. And there probably are things we can do here as commissioners even to help alleviate some of these problems. But the community itself needs to value, and I hate to use the term, but I think it applies, needs to value the American dream. Hard work, education, and trust in the larger community. So I think that we need to consider that as a perspective rather than just looking at numbers of folks standing before a judge and how the judge reacts. Thank you.
Mr. President, can I
Sir.
just
Indeed, sir.
add one more thing to that? Because some of the comments that were made by the young lady last week about, sort of accusing the commissioners of not paying attention to the needs of the community, which is absurd. When I think about, over the last 4 years that we have been here together and 2 years that Commissioner Young has been here almost, the kinds of actions that we have taken as a body to support the community are rather voluminous. And I'll just mention a few, and this is not for political credit, it is just to correct the record and the insinuations that were made last week she made them without any research, certainly. And community development block grants, which we administer, and the commissioners have virtually sole decision-making authority over how this money gets spent. It's about $1.4 million per year. And we put hundreds of thousands of dollars into fair housing, into supporting our various communities around the county with various projects. Some are commercial, some are neighborhood focused, storefronts. playgrounds, recreation centers for various cities and townships around the county. We have and continue to initiate interest-free loans and grants to businesses who have suffered from the corona shutdown in order to maintain employment. We have helped steer businesses and individuals to state agencies and the federal government for assistance as well. Our work through supporting all of the work that Jobs and Family Services does for workforce development and trying to remedy the unemployment situation, which is still, 8.6% in Lake County, which is at least as of August. So we have done a lot of things to try to create economic activity. We tried to protect the economy in Lake County, which is good for everybody. We've also worked very closely with the health district through the coronavirus situation to make sure that the health of the community has been properly guarded. We have worked with law enforcement, both at the sheriff's office, which we more directly get engaged with, as well as all of the city police departments and fire departments, to make sure that first responders are responding to needs indiscriminate of anybody's race or religious position. And so to suggest that the county commissioners have been ignorant of or ignored the needs of all of the community here is simply cannot be substantiated. And I just wanted to point some of those items out, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, do we have any other old business to come before the board? Moving on to new business. Do we have new business? I do have a bit here. I'll say we had our OPWC District 7 meeting just the other day. It was virtual. We are tightening up some of the policies and procedures for acquiring those dollars, and I'd like to extend a hearty thank you to Jim and his team. Jim Gills, our county engineer. Over the last few years, we've worked very hard to tighten things up and move dollars out into the community. In years prior, it was not uncommon for projects to be granted and never performed, and those dollars just accumulated. There's been a real push in leadership to get that out there. I'm very proud to be a part of that. I had a great conversation with Mayor Regovich just yesterday, and his community is benefiting, I believe, to the tune of about $1.5 million for funding coming from this program. So there's a real change, and I have to say there's a real sense of working together in Lake County like never before. These agencies, these cities, villages, townships, we still have those friendly sparring moments, but big picture, we're getting things done, and that should not be overlooked, and that means a great deal. So even little meetings like that are also an indicator that things are moving in a positive way, and I'm proud to be a part of that. Switching to Judge O'Donnell, I will say the data that was shared here today about the 176 cases, Judge O'Donnell is one of the two judges that had been working very closely and still are, in different regards now. Judge Collins, when he was on the bench, but he is still with Begin the Conversation, as is Judge O'Donnell. The data, these two judges, and currently John O'Donnell still doing this, are voluntarily taking the time to give us more detail so that we get some substance beyond just the raw transcripts, the raw reports, giving us a real feel for what's going on in an individual courtroom. And I would encourage people, as I'm always saying, if you have the opportunity to ride with law enforcement and get a feel for what's going on, make arrangements and sit in on some court cases. Just sit there, bear witness, see what's going on in that courtroom, just to get a feel with your own eyes and your own ears of what our justice system in Lake County is like. I believe you're going to be impressed. The raw numbers do not do justice to the actual activities. And that was one of the big driving forces. Begin the Conversation. We've made a concerted effort to capture data And we're finding that the capture of data is very difficult when there's no real metrics, no real reference. So you've got to get down to some base activities, and I know that there's many things that we're working on right now that will do that, but I cannot overemphasize. Take the time to just reach out and experience with your own eyes and your own ears what's going on, because it's almost like a game of telephone sometimes when the information is, well, yeah, based on what somebody told me about somebody who heard from a friend that they heard something over a coffee table at the diner down the street 3 years ago. It just gets so watered down and diluted, and then what happens, and this is sad, people fill in the blanks, and some of those blanks that they're filling in the information with come from California, come from Chicago, come from Boston, and they try to make those things fit into Lake County, and they just don't fit. And I think it would be in everybody's interest to see that we do have a good thing going here. Can it be better? Absolutely. Many of us are working to make it better, and I think that's would be time well spent to do things like that. And I highly commend Judge O'Donnell for being faithful and continuing to share that additional information. So it is proving to be valuable, and our community is being respectful and actually acknowledging that data. So it's good to hear it, but I, again, cannot overemphasize, not to be redundant, but see it for yourself. So with that, if there's no other new business, I will move on to our second public comment portion. Jason, do we have any electronic public comments? Indicating none, sir. Very good. And do we have anyone in the audience who wishes to address the board in the second public comment? I see no takers. Okay. This moves us to, we have a request for an executive session. No business will be conducted afterwards. The purpose is real estate acquisition. Do we have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
And discussion?
None?
No discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck?
Yes. Thank you. This meeting stands adjourned to executive.